In the American Revolutionary War of 1775 to 1783, George Washington and his boys successfully repelled the British Army and forced Great Britain to acknowledge the independence of the United States. Britain would not attempt to take the land back, although they did perform a successful invasion of American airwaves, fronted by George Harrison and his boys, the Beatles. British music had been getting a few hits here and there throughout the 1950s and early 60s, but 1964 marked the official start of the British invasion, a noted influx of British music and culture in the US, fronted by the Beatles and their first US #1 hit, I Want to Hold Your Hand. The Fab Four would go on to chart on the Billboard Hot 100 with more than 30 entries in the following year alone. Before the Beatles swept the States, Americans were captivated by Bobby Vinton's rendition of There, I've Said It Again. More importantly, America was also crazy about a cover of a Joe Jones song that was released by a young high school frat rock band, the Rivieras. Named after the Buick vehicle, this all-American act found themselves at the number 5 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 on January 25th, 1964, just 1 week before the Beatles blew up the charts. The Rivieras were not fated to last. 2 of the members joined the Marines to fight in the Vietnam War shortly after recording their only hit, and the band fell apart partially due to the loss of members and partially due to the sheer musical might of the British Empire. While this band may have died, the song lived on through movies like Good Morning Vietnam and the Doors biopic, as well as covers like the 1977 version by the Ramones, which itself featured in the film Rock and Roll High School. Of course, Joe Jones, the Rivieras, and the Ramones wouldn't have had a song to begin with if not for the songwriting efforts of Blues Hall of Famer Henry Glover. The song's lyrics are simple, but effective, touching on what can only be called the timeless truth. Californian women are hot, like the sun. That's right, we're talking Joe Jones' California Sun on Cover Me, Summer of Sun.
I'm gonna go back out on the coast, where the California girls are really the most. They walk, but that walk, they talk.
That's right, it's Cover Me, Summer of Sun. The only podcast that compares songs loosely related to the sun to their many cover versions to find out which one is doing karate. I'm your host, as always, The Snake, joined by my frisky co-host,
Alex Mildenberger. Ooh,
Alex
that's loud.
Mildenberger, loud and proud.
And proud? Oh, it's because I turned myself up in my own ears. All right, we're good.
Nice. Alex, what's going on?
What is going on? It is not sunny here, I'll tell you that. I'm looking forward to talk about the sun because we decided to have clouds. But you know what? It has been smoky because of fire.
Yes. Oh, same here, brother.
Oh yeah, we've got towns burning down over here. So that's
I just saw Jasper lost like a third of it.
That's the one. Because our premier likes to cut budgets on firefighting and stuff without replacing it with other things, which I assume is like clearing brush. I don't know.
Yeah. Not, Alberta. They like their money. Yeah, they sure don't like to spend it.
We sure don't.
We've got a tinge of smoke here, much less than in previous years, though, so I'm always happy about that. But I think August is real smoke season.
True. I mean, we've had years where it's like every day is either too hot, too smoky, or both. It's like, do we even have a summer? Like, what happened?
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck are we doing?
But, yeah.
But we're here. We're talking about a song that is almost directly about the sun.
Almost.
Turns out it's more about being horny, but the sun is a prominent character.
Yeah, the sun's a prominent character, but the sun is specifically baking skin of a particular group of people.
Yes.
That was an interesting way to say that.
That's sometimes you have a very political way of speaking. The sun is targeting a specific group of people. Those people have skin, like many people. Anyway, it's a topic that comes up a lot, right? The idea of California girls. Absolutely.
Women in California.
That is its own subgenre of music.
Yeah. There's several songs called California Girls about California girls.
The Beach Boys have one, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think there's a Beach Boys one. And
there's Katy Perry.
Katy Perry one. I don't know if there's a... I mean, you may remember we found the Gay Anthems Wikipedia page. I didn't find a Songs About California Girls Wikipedia page. But, I mean, like there's also sort of like if you go to like 60s 70s kind of time frame, anything about like hippies, like female hippies, is also technically that, right?
Yeah, so. Which you of course also get name checked in at least the original version of this song. True. Yeah, big horniness for the West Coast in that time period.
And I mean, West Coast is an interesting place. I've never been to California.
Alex Mildenberger.
I know. But it gets talked about a lot. I guess it's because it's Hollywood, right? That's got to be mostly it.
Yeah, that's like a big part of it. It's like a big entertainment capital.
Yeah. So it just like spills out into the internet and like culture at large.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, we covered last year A Star Is Born 4 times.
Yeah.
And every time, except maybe I think the final one, I think the final 2, it's about a person going to California first to then be, in that
to
part
be a
of
star.
The culture. To be a star, to be born. And even in the later ones, it's like, well, she's struggling in California to be a part of, the glitterati, as it were. So, like,
right.
Yeah, that idea of the West Coast as this beautiful gem, this goal, this prize is part of the American mythos for quite a long time.
Yeah, at least since like Hollywood happened. And even like depending on how you look at it, it's a very different context, but like gold rush stuff, you go out there to strike it rich.
Exactly. You have this like driving force that brings all these people out there. And then I think, of course, the temperate weather is what maybe keeps a lot of people there outside of the music. They're just like, hey, it's great weather here.
Nice. It's hot, but it's nice.
You got the beach. It's got a lot. There's a lot to love there.
Yeah. I mean, Vancouver, for similar reasons, not all the same, but
absolutely. But there is
coastal stuff is nice.
We call it North Hollywood up here sometimes.
North Hollywood.
But yeah, there's a similar vibe here, and also similarly, there's a lot of songs about hot Vancouverites. No, there's not.
That's an untapped market.
Untapped market. We're going to get into it. Most songs from Vancouverites are about taking care of business, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's pretty much our thing. Business.
And the management thereof. Alex, let's manage a little business here.
Yeah, let's do it.
How familiar are you with this song?
Basically not. Like, a few years ago, we played it a few times.
Yeah, we did a pretty solid minor key version of this song.
Yeah, which was fun.
It was fun.
Pretty basic stuff, but it's a good time. And that was basically the only thing I knew about it. Like, I didn't even listen to it aside from us playing it.
Yeah, it's a very honestly, it's not that fucking wild of a song. It's not super duper unique. The lyric writing isn't far out, exciting or anything. It's kind of just like a pop hit that manages to make it through.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those ones that because it for whatever reason managed to be a hit, and sometimes it can be so random.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll talk about the specific version later. And then got covered. It's like the people who remembered it from their younger years then covered it, and then because that just sort of fed into itself and it kept happening. I think that's my guess anyway.
That really is it. And there does seem to be, particularly in the early years, this timing issue where we'll talk about Joe Jones' version.
Yeah.
But it is just a hair too late in terms of the composition versus what's in the zeitgeist. And then the Rivieras squeak in just at the end of when surf rock is still ripe. And then
could be a hit, and then
still could be a hit.
Like the Beatles keep it out of number 1 or something like that.
Yeah, essentially, if it had maybe had a bit more runway, it could have hit number 1. But it's the Beatles wipe it out the next week, February. They just steal the fucking charts.
Yeah,
and then you get a modest revival in the Ramones, which is the version I came to know. That's why I know this song, and that's because the Ramones like surf rock and shit. You listen to a lot of their music, and it's the same way you listen to Led Zeppelin. You're like, wait, what? It's just the blues?
It's just the blues? It's just surf rock?
Yeah, what? The Ramones are just surf rock? And it's yeah, kind of.
Kind of, sometimes.
Sometimes, a bit. And so, yeah, to see this thing like kind of just kept alive, and then it's basically carried that point onwards by movies like Good Morning Vietnam. It becomes like a period piece song, and Rock and Roll High School for the Ramones version. So it's
I guess, yeah, like combination period piece, but also like, as we mentioned, the idea of like California and California girls. There's songs about it. There's also movies about it, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
It's brought up and like, I'm trying to think of an example, but or like a scene in a movie where like some person's like, sure do like women, or like let's go to the beach.
Yeah, it would be an easy like movie, smash cut to the beach, because like that like guitar line is a hook.
Yeah,
and so much described surf rock hits the beach. Like it really does land in a very sweet spot of being this California beach concept.
Or I don't know how it gets used in Good Morning Vietnam, but I wonder if it's
well, that is maybe I've never seen Good Morning Vietnam.
You should watch that movie.
I should, but I assume it's used to because Robin Williams is in there, either comical effect or perhaps serious effect.
Because it's Robin Williams is in there.
Because it's Robin Williams in there. You never really know.
No. Yeah, that's fun.
Just one of my great predictions.
Yeah. Wonderful. This is really top notch. And unrivaled, I think.
Unrivaled. Also unrivaled is the lyricism of what the fuck is his name? Howard Baker. Glover.
Yeah.
Henry Glover.
The writer. So yeah, there's apparently some issues with like labeling of this like single with the wrong
sometimes
composer.
Roulette Records owner Morris Levy is credited.
Yeah, but apparently, this Henry Glover, who I'm not familiar with, but he's like a fairly he's a music industry exec and also musician. But that's kind of the same as Joe Jones, who is the one who ends up recording this. Is he has like a couple songs. Like if you look at his Wikipedia page, he has like 16 songs. He has like 8 singles he puts out.
Right.
An A side and a B side. So it's like it's not like he even has that much material out there. But he also like did some business stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So there was a lot more like guys kind of doing it all. You kind of maybe moved through the industry and you're like, oh, you started as a musician. You start getting familiar with the business, and then you move to the production side in your later years.
Yeah, which, I mean, I know some people are more interested in management for whatever reason. I went through engineering school. I know people who I talk to who are, like, studying for whatever, and they're like, I don't need to know it that well. I'm going to be a manager in 5 years. I don't need to know the technical side. So it happens.
Yeah. So that's what you get with all these characters. Because like Joe Jones, most of his page is dedicated to being like, oh, he discovered this group, the Dixie Cups.
Yeah,
he's worked with Baby King, whatever. And of course he has the classic like 50s, 60s startup thing, which is like, he served in the Navy and then went to study music afterwards.
Right. And like claims to have written a bunch of songs that he doesn't have the rights for. Because
that's right.
It's disputed.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, interesting character. I do like that the lyrics for this slowly get changed, and very, very minorly. There's not a lot to change over the years. Because the first version here is a little bit too, like, for my taste, like a little too voyeuristic.
It is, and it does change over time for sure. And we'll discuss it. But it's interesting that some of the later ones don't reference these California girls much at all. Mm-hmm. It goes from basically being the only thing the song talks about to just like one small part of it.
Yeah, one small part of it. Like, they start out, like later versions start out being like, California is dope because of like the climate there. And then they add on that there's women. Whereas this version begins, I'm going to go back out on the coast where the California girls are really the most.
I mean, yeah, there you go. He wants to go to the coast because, I mean, presumably the heat makes it easier for people to wear less clothes.
Hell yeah. And he's just like, people, like we value suntans, I think, in Western culture more than, say, other cultures. So he's like, hey, there's gorgeous women out there. Plus you got big cities, like big city women take care of themselves a little better, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
And Hollywood, of course, Hollywood, the California girls, they're all trying to be movie stars. Dressing a little nicer, looking a little nicer.
Wag.
Eyebrow wag.
Potentially. I don't know all of the implications, but that's all there, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like, it is, like you said, it's quite voyeuristic. But also maybe slightly lecherous.
Yeah, well, he's like, I'm going to go back to the coast where I can check out Californian women.
Yeah. And I guess, the description in the chorus does sound like he's looking at them.
Yeah, because the next ones will like get them involved in this. In this one, it's all just talking. He says, they walk that walk, they talk that talk, they twist it like this, they shimmy, don't you hear me? Yes, they're out there having fun in the warm California sun.
Yeah, and I recently went to a taco bar in Calgary called Surfy Surfy. I don't know if it's a chain or not.
Weird.
But they had TVs up on the walls showing like old footage, like probably 60s, I don't know exactly, maybe 70s, 80s footage of like beaches and like California, basically.
Yeah.
I assume LA, but it's just like people on roller skates and like playing surfing.
Yeah, like the boardwalk and stuff. You got people surfing, just hanging out on the beach. Can you confirm, were they the most?
Were they the most? There were a lot of them.
Okay. They were plentiful.
Yeah. So it's that image, and like we have this image now, and I don't know what it was like when this song was written, but I think it existed in some form.
Yeah. Oh, certainly it did. I mean, yeah, you look at the time period that's coming around, and the Beach Boys are right around the corner with their own about California girls.
True.
We love the beach, and because this is the era of surf rock and what is apparently known as frat rock, which is the next band coming up, the Rivieras, which is just surf rock meets hot rod culture.
That's funny. I have an old record from my aunt and uncle, called Surf and Drag, and it's just like it's like half surf rock songs and half songs about like drag racing, which of course are like kind of related in that like sort of teen culture, and you do see that kind of stuff in like I guess the drag stuff more in like Greece.
Yeah, you think of like golden era, like 50s, and then surf is more like 50s to 60s.
Yeah, and so surf and drag, it's on there. And I mean, the Beach Boys they had songs about surfing, they had songs about racing cars too. So.
Yeah, and they were a big band called the Beach Boys.
It's true. Which is kind of why I've always dismissed them and like was shocked to hear that like Pet Sounds is actually held in
that they're
high
actually
regard.
held in high critical regard. You're like, but they're called the Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys, aren't they just a surf rock band?
Yeah.
But anyway,
But yeah, this is the time to write this song is such a genre like piece. It is just so. Like this is a surf rock song. So we're kind of, I guess, just trying to encapsulate why surf rock is so prominent at this point in time. The answer is that's just kind of what it was, man.
Yeah, although the original isn't like super surf rocky musically.
That's true. Yeah, musically it's not.
No, but
so conceptually, we've got the beach without the surf rock at this point, which is maybe what we're trying to get at.
And maybe that's part of why it fits well. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, it's we're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
they're out there having fun. They shimmy. Don't you hear me? Just say they shimmy.
Oh, don't you hear me?
Oh, don't you hear me? And I like that it's implied that he's demonstrating the twist.
He's demonstrating the twist.
They twist it like this.
Like this. And then he does the twist. Yeah,
and then he does the twist.
And then you twist along with him if he's singing and performing.
Yeah. And of course, they walk that walk, they talk that talk. It implies a certain level of hipness and trendiness to this area.
True.
They're out there having fun, and they are out there. He's not having fun in the cat, but I guess he's made the goal to go there.
I guess the other thing... He's made the goal to go there. They're out there having fun. Well, he's also like, oh, they're there. And it's like this kind of a separation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it does feel more like he's watching, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing, literally talking about them walking, like watching them walk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He loves to watch him walk, hates to see him leave, or whatever it is.
Or whatever it is.
You know, some version of that.
Yeah. That's the
warm California sun. It implies the sun is different in California. We also know that it's warm. Warm sun is good sun.
It's very special. It's like warm, but maybe not too warm. But it gets really hot there too. I don't know.
It's a desert out there, baby.
Yeah.
It gets hot. Let's do a 2-line verse here real quick. The girls are frisky in old Frisco. A pretty little miss wherever you go.
Yeah, that's pretty... I mean, we're talking about San Francisco now, very specifically. Of course, the kind of two major cultural cities in California being San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we're like more explicit. The girls are frisky, like basically,
they're down
says,
to fuck, baby.
Says they're easy. Yeah,
they're easy. And there's hotties everywhere. A pretty little miss, so wherever you go.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them. And maybe they're just easy to find. I don't know.
Could be. Everybody's outside because it's warm. You can't stay inside, Alex.
Yeah, it's a city that attracts a lot of people to it.
Yes. Chorus again, a saxophone solo. Verse 3, the girls are pretty in old LA, and the good sunshine keeps them all that way.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing as well. I mean, obviously the tan thing you were mentioning before, like just like the idea of like being sun-kissed or whatever.
Exactly.
But also the sun also damages your skin, so be careful, everyone. Wear sunscreen.
We didn't have that knowledge back here in 1960.
No. Or we just wanted a like rhyming couplet, because really that's what this, it's the verses are very short. This is the last verse. Yeah,
this is the last one, baby.
And they're just rhyming couplets, so like it's quick.
Yeah,
they're quick. They're mostly just about women and girls,
and sometimes the sun.
Yeah, this of course another reference to the sun. The only time the sun gets referenced in a verse, does it matter?
Yes.
Not really, but
really.
Specifically about the sun's effect on the girls.
Mm-hmm. And it's good to get vitamin D, so he's not fully wrong.
That's true.
It's a little vitamin D is good for, but like you said, got to get your SPF on there, folks. Stay safe from the sun. Be good.
Yeah, I remember one time my sister had suntan lotion, and it was SPF 3.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that does anything.
So yeah, it's supposed to be like the ingredients in that, I think, aid in giving you a tan. Yeah,
well, I was actually tanning oil, I realize now. So it's like, I remember seeing tanning oil more, 20 years ago.
Yeah, because you were trying to like enhance the qualities of the sun.
Yeah, versus like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We actually want to protect ourselves.
Yeah, like you're going to slow cook out there any which way. Just put on high SPF.
Yeah.
That's the song, man.
Sunscreen, everybody.
Wear sunscreen.
It's important.
The good sunshine, keep them all that way. Sunscreen.
But I mean, yeah, it's real simple song, right? Like, he's talking about like a few different situations where he's looking at women, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's my understanding of it.
And of course, big city women. Not that the women are big, the cities are big.
Right.
Old Frisco. I like that every city's old, too. Old LA.
Yeah, they're both old. I also like, one of the versions has like a genius annotation for Frisco that's like, this refers to San Francisco, but maybe also Fresno. And it's like, is it though?
How could it be a reference to Fresno?
It says Frisco.
It says Frisco. It's very clear that they're playing on the word frisky and the city San Francisco.
Yeah, and Frisco. Frisky Frisco.
This is what you get. Also, nobody needed that annotated.
Yeah. Although, I mean, sometimes, like, fair enough, just to point out that Frisco is San Francisco. Maybe people don't know that. I don't know.
I mean, the song is about California.
The song's about California. Maybe if someone who is not familiar with California.
I guess. But even then, I think you're more likely to look up just the word Frisco than to, like jump to genius.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on in California, son?
Where's Frisco?
What the fuck are they talking about? And like at that point, you might as well. I guess they don't mention L.A. in the Rivieras version, so that's why I don't get that there. One version does mention hippies in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I'm not off my rocker completely here.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, but first we're gonna get to the composition of Joe Jones' version, which is, it's got some drums, baby. It opens with drums.
Yeah, the original is more like R&B, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Pretty lively for R&B.
Yeah, but it's also like it's this older like R&B style, so it's the kind of stuff that we like that Springsteen covered in Only the Strong Survive, right?
Right, yeah.
Maybe that's more like soul, but like it's in there, right?
It's in that vein of music.
Yeah, so it's that older style of R&B too. Like I was talking to my partner Fatima about
Van Morrison,
about R&B, and Van Morrison did come up, but like it's same with rock and roll, and the genres have changed so much over the years that like the stuff in the 50s 60s is so different,
right?
From what
it's
now.
Almost indistinguishable.
Yeah, it's like, how is this the same genre, but it's just changed over decades?
Yeah,
why do we use the same word? Probably marketing purposes, honestly. But we do use the same words.
It's very strange, but yeah. Would you put on some Van Morrison? She's like, I can put on some rhythm and blues music. You're like, no, don't put Nelly on it.
No, what is it?
He's asking for the Staple Sisters.
We were actually talking about Zayn Malik's new album.
Okay.
She's more familiar with Zayn Malik than I am, so she was saying that this new album has less R&B on it, but then she was comparing to the R&B that Zayn Malik was playing, and was talking about more modern R&B, and then I was mentioning how we were doing this song, and how different it is, and it's so different.
Okay. Well, Zayn Malik.
Yeah.
Good for him. Love a guy you can Google, and then it's got his signature on the
yeah, that's always fun.
Page.
I hope Richard Nixon's is on his page.
God, we can only hope. But yeah, so this opens up with the drums. They're very they're kind of Tom focused, really.
The drums. It's kind of, and it's like it's a lot of rhythm on there, right? I don't know where the blues come in.
Yeah, we get like a tambourine coming in too.
The tambourine does come in. It's like there's a bar of just like hitting one drum, and then it like adds more.
Yeah.
And then it gets to like the pattern it moves into is like, I think, pretty standard.
Yeah, it's a pretty slick kind of roll he does to like open up.
But then we get into kind of a more regular thing, and then it just gets into that rhyming couplet, right? And then the saxophone too.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's like your riff, like your main riff, which is pretty. I don't want to call it iconic because I didn't know it before, but it probably is, right?
That's
it's
like
a good riff.
The reason I because that riff sticks out in my head, and it's simple. Like I was like, I bet I can play that on bass, and then that's why we then learned to play a weird minor version of it.
Yeah, and I mean, it works on you put that on a guitar, and it sounds very surf rock.
It sounds great. Yeah, it does sound surf rock, and I think that riff is part of what gave this song a little longevity. Is that if not iconic, it is like emblematic of surf rock.
Yeah,
even before surf rock really comes into, even before it is a surf rock song,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this one just has a lot of saxophone, so they kind of have the rhyming couplets. It's broken up by saxophone, so it does a rhyming couplet.
Yeah.
Like back and forth. Yeah, so it's sort of a call and response.
Yeah, because other than that, it's the rhythm section.
Yeah.
And then we hit piano for the chorus.
Yes. I do like a lot of things. The bass and piano, I think, are playing like the same thing, but like it's doing the what's the pattern?
Right, because the bass is doing dun 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 dun.
Yeah, so they're kind of playing along the same thing. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but like it's very similar.
Yeah, piano's kind of like leading itself into those chords, whereas the bass is just playing the root note straight, maybe.
Yeah, and it's also playing. I don't know if it's quite a walking bass line. I don't think it is.
It's not, but it has the timing of that at the
and it's like doubled up. Like every note's doubled. Da 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 da. Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives that patter of a walking bass line, but to actually be walking, it has to it needs more than the two chords. Right. I think it progresses through.
Yeah, it's like not quite enough.
Yeah, and it's improvisational in nature is a walking bass line, so you have to I mean, theoretically, you could improvise the same thing by accident every time, but then it's not really a walk.
Right. Yeah, so it's not really that, but and then the piano, like I said, is following that.
So it's more of like a again, it's sort of proto surf rock here. It's kind of a boogie woogie style because you would play that maybe downwards if you were doing more, but you're playing it up, so it's it's certainly rooted in the style of this era.
Excellent. And, of course, piano, very rhythmic here.
Yeah, very rhythmic here. And listen, it all sounds good.
It does. It does all sound good.
This version hit 89 on the Billboard Hot 100, so it's not a flop.
No, not at all. I like the sound of that saxophone. And there is still saxophone in the chorus. Like, it's just playing, like, a little bit in between lines. The lines themselves, like...
Yeah.
They're short now. Like, and it's quite different, because the verse, they're longer. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And then, like, they're kind of extended versus this. Yeah,
they twist. Like this.
Yeah, and then the saxophone plays those two, like, blasts.
Yeah.
Until the very end where they kind of follow, like, root notes.
Yeah, and it's quite satisfying,
refrain, I guess.
Because they get to stretch out there, too. It's...
Yeah, California Sun. So, yeah, that's the chorus. It's, that saxophone. I like that saxophone.
Yeah, I think it's a great feature of this.
Which isn't in a lot of the versions, interestingly.
No, I think it gets dropped because I think, like, it's just a matter of the timing, right? It's the era of the guitar is coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, saxophone as a component of, like, this kind of music is less.
Yeah, it starts to become like a fringe/novelty to have a saxophone in there or throwback.
Which, of course, changes throughout the years. But at least
I mean, once we hit the 80s, you need a saxophone in everything.
Allegedly.
And Buddy, as the kids say, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
Allegedly. Yeah, I guess hair metal doesn't have a lot of saxophones in it. You're right.
I did see Jeff Tate open for Alice Cooper.
Oh, yeah?
He's a saxophone. He's like a metal guy.
He's a metal guy, not a hair metal guy, but definitely a metal guy.
He was bald. You're right. There was no hair.
Yeah, I know these things.
That's true. Definitely not hair metal. So let's see. Yeah, it goes back to normal for the verse.
Yeah.
And then the chorus. There's a little like verse instrumental, and then like it's a saxophone solo, but it's like a verse and then a chorus.
Yeah.
So like plays the melody. And then, but like on the verse, for example, it's instrumental. The saxophone plays the vocal part, and then the guitar responds now.
Yeah, this is like the only part we get guitar.
Yeah, and the guitar even is kind of a surf guitar sound.
Yeah, certainly.
I forget how you do that. Is that a Rickenbacker, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, Rickenbackers were big for that. It's kind of like it's jangle pop adjacent, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's like surf guitar, like we heard. Sorry, I've just been thinking about John Barry. In the James Bond theme. John Barry.
Right. Oh yeah, John Barry
has that like surf guitar. It's that, but like higher.
That's right.
That kind of sound. We watched the movie Star Crash last night, which was composed by John Barry. So I've been thinking about him.
Yeah, on it. Like I'll say this for that movie, not very good.
Yeah.
John Barry stuff was pretty solid.
Yeah, music was fine.
It was fine.
It was the Star Wars ripoff. They didn't have John Williams, but they had John Barry, which is like, not bad.
Hey, yeah, I mean, yeah, the guy did fucking James Bond. That's a pretty solid resume right there. Folks, if you're interested in Star Crash, a movie in which David Hasselhoff has top billing but only shows up about 2/3 into the movie, you can see it on the app Plex for free. They got it free with ads, and hey, if you've got an ad blocker, you don't even have ads.
It's just free.
It's just free. But I wouldn't know about any of that. I'm a guy who watches ads.
Yeah. We wouldn't not support Plex.
Yeah, come on.
Anyway, that was a bit of an aside, but I've been thinking about John Barry.
Yeah, we got a little surf rock on the brain and surf rock adjacent things.
So yeah, it goes through the verse instrumental and then the chorus instrumental. The saxophone takes over for the vocal melody again. The piano's playing different. It's playing like more of like eighth note, like block chords. Kind of like a poppy thing.
And again, the sax is really cutting loose in this section too.
Yes. Yeah, which is, I guess, this feels more like a solo. The whole thing's kind of a solo, kind of.
Yeah,
but they do like call and response stuff, so it's not really. It's instrumental, I guess, is the important part.
Yeah, I wonder if, and I don't know if Joe Jones was a saxophone player, but I know Henry Glover played trumpet. So I wonder if he maybe took a dive on the saxophone here to get some credit on his own song. Maybe.
Well, I know he was a piano player in the U.S. Navy band.
So yeah, hard to say who's playing this, but that does seem like even just the trick of having a guitar solo be just the verse and chorus is pretty well known. So to see it in this
I've complained about it before. I think it works pretty well here. I don't know.
Sometimes
really
it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And like you said, it kind of cuts loose and does a lot of. It's like very expressive.
Yeah, and I think in a pop song of this era, that's a pretty solid move.
True.
Where they're playing this at the fucking like dance hall or something, like it gets the people going.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of most of the unique stuff. There is a saxophone solo again.
Yeah.
Which has like a saxophone solo, but like you're really getting like piano improv kind of.
Yeah, that piano is cutting loose in the back there.
Yeah, doing a lot of like trills and stuff. As the saxophone basically plays the chorus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the piano there.
Yeah, I think it's some great piano. It does. This piece just does feel like it. Like if it released a year early, maybe it might have like hit a little stronger.
Do you think it was too late?
I think it was maybe just too late.
Okay.
I just think like 1960, where as soon as the decade shifts, everybody has to find something new, and so Joe Jones didn't do that. JoJo,
as we call him.
As we all know, decades are solid blocks of time that do not intermingle in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. One decade ends, you have to forget everything and learn completely new things.
Exactly. Because it's not long until Van Morrison is asking for rhythm and blues music on the radio.
Yeah.
Which is basically a call to get oldies. And unfortunately, Joe Jones would have been an oldie if he was a year earlier, 1959.
Yeah, there you go.
Or the alternative here is good old-fashioned American racism.
That's true. That's a big one.
That's a big one, because as we're going to find out in this first cover, it's it's white boys who saved this song.
The Rivieras.
That's right, in the sweet year of our Lord, 1963.
1963.
Where I belong, where the days are short and the nights are long, where they walk and I walk, they twist and I'll twist, they sing.
Yes, often called the last American rock and roll hit before the British invasion. And by often, I mean probably at least once.
Probably at least once. But then I checked the charts and there was this fucking, there, I said it again, the song that was in number 1. So also there was then number 2, 3, and 4 ahead of these guys. But
so they weren't the biggest hit at the time.
Yeah.
But maybe it just gets remembered for whatever reason.
And maybe it's like the last surf rock hit.
Yeah, maybe. It's like very American rock.
Yeah, and it does feel that right down to their name being a fucking model of Buick car is...
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
So funny. I see that. Buick Riviera.
The Buick Riviera.
I also... Frat rock. Doesn't sound like a 60s thing to me, but I guess...
No, and then you find out what it is, you're like, okay, well that's the 60s idea of a fraternity.
Okay.
Because
it's drag.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, boys love their cars, and they sure do love to hit the beach. Look at these frat rockers.
Frat rock.
Whereas nowadays, it would just be like butt rock, or like Limp Bizkit is probably the closest thing to frat rock.
Frat rock. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in frats these days. Probably not a lot of rock.
Probably honestly. Not a lot of rock.
But that's cool. That's how
they're
it goes.
all into instrumental music. They're all into lo-fi beats to study to, because fraternities are serious now, okay?
They're serious now. They're all about studying.
They're getting no more grades. Partying. No more partying. We
abolished partying. Because no one's allowed to have any fun anymore.
That's right, because of woke.
All right.
Yeah, all right. This is a weird band too. They write a hit song, record a hit song, and then the lead singer goes to fight in Vietnam.
Yeah, so they kind of get broken up, and then like they've existed in various forms throughout the years, but never really been that successful. This is kind of their hit.
Yeah, and they really milked it too, because they do record a version called Arizona Sun as well.
Okay.
Which has, as you'd expect, just a couple of line changes about like they're horny down in Phoenix or whatever it is. Like
right. Which like there's so few lyrics in this song, right? Like you can like that are specific to California.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the word California and then the city mentions, but you can replace those so easily.
So easy. Yeah, I'm seeing their years active here. I didn't really take a look. 62 to 66, and then somehow 2000 to 2010.
Yeah, it's one of the... I mean, there's so many of these groups that, like... It's almost quaint now, but I'm sure at the time it was more exciting, maybe. But, like, they had a revival in the 2000s.
Yeah.
You know? Even, like... Something that's not that old, like Pixies, who are still together, but, like...
I think they just released a single.
But, like... Kim Deal is not like Kim Deal was there. Like they all got back together, original lineup kind of thing.
Right.
In like I don't remember when now, but it was like 2000s, and then like I remembered why they broke up in the first place.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I feel like there was a time there. I don't know why it happened. Maybe it was popular for executives to try to like schmooze with these band members to get them back together, or maybe they just naturally found each other on the internet or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it was. Like fan bases emerged on the internet, and then they realized they actually existed.
Yeah, kind of the
Something like
Weezer
that.
revival story too. Is that the internet was like, actually Pinkerton was good, and they're like, well, I guess we should keep being a band.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent,
Yeah,
but
bit
it
of a
did bring
tangent.
maybe this band back together as well.
Maybe, and
Skeptical though. I don't know why there'd be an internet subculture that's really into the Rivieras. Maybe it was
Listen.
actually for the car, and they just misinterpreted.
yeah,
it.
they got caught up in it. So the lyrics for this one are slightly different. The first verse is different. Well, I'm going out west where I belong, where the days are short and the nights are long.
Yeah. So already we've dropped some of the like reference to just like watching women.
Yes.
Because the original is like all about girls, all about checking them out and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm going to go see some fucking babes, dude. You want to go to San Francisco?
Some of them
There's
are
babes.
frisky.
Some of them fuck. A lot of them do. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
You want to go to LA?
Specifically in Frisco.
They sunbathe there, brother. Let's fucking go.
Let's watch them do that.
Let's watch them. I got some binoculars.
I've got a hat because it's sunny.
It's sunny.
And we're good.
And I got a pack of cigarettes for our health. Let's go.
Because we want to be skinny.
But yeah, this one it speaks more to this idea of just like California being a sort of promised land.
Yeah, and I guess nightlife as well, right? Days are short,
yes,
and the nights are long. Like night is like party time.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's a little bit of party culture. It's similar to the idea in the Love and Spoonful song,
Summer in
the City. Yeah, where he's like, oh, but the nights, dude, that's the shit.
Oh yeah, like everything's crazy hot. Like you can't do anything in the day because it's too hot. But
it's too hot. But
sun
at night,
goes down.
the city comes alive.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a little different from just like walking around in the sun. It's kind of funny that he's talking about nights too. That it's the song is California Sun.
And I guess like what he's saying by days is kind of implied work days.
Yeah, I guess so. And then nights is just like leisure time kind of.
Yeah. So you don't work long and you party.
Yeah.
And then the next change up we get is in the chorus. Where they walk, all walk. They twist and all twist. They shimmy and all shimmy. They fly and all fly. Well, they're out there having fun in the warm California sun.
Yeah, I don't really know about fly, but maybe it's just like a different... Is it a dance, maybe?
It could be a dance. He's maybe it's just a romanticization of California-ing.
Flying.
They're like, we're flying, man. We're having a great time.
I know it can mean to like run, but I just don't know why.
Yeah,
like run away usually.
Could be smoking that weed. Yeah, they flee and I'll flee.
Oh, sure. They could just be getting high.
They could be getting high. I think of it as just a general like good time statement.
Good time, like
we're flying. Yeah, okay. It's easy. It's breezy.
They are fly? No, I don't think that would have been.
They fly. Yeah, that could work if it was an all fly.
Yeah.
But he's going to go and do what the people do.
True. Yeah, it's interesting, like, because we haven't specifically mentioned the girls yet. It's gonna, but like, it's not the focus like it is in the other version.
Yeah,
so,
it takes just a little less pressure off that.
Yeah, it's more about just like doing stuff the people in California are doing because it's fun, I guess.
Yeah, it's the lifestyle, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like where they walk is a good one because it's like where they go, I'm gonna go. So it's the places they go, and then it's the things they do: twisting, shimmying, and flying.
Yeah.
Only thing that doesn't fully stick the landing here, which the Ramones will correct, is, well, they're out there having fun in the warm California sun, but it does make sense contextually because he's not there yet.
Right. It's just kind of dreaming about California. It's a California dreaming, if you will.
Yeah, that would be a great song. Yeah, it's a good title. Keep that under your hat. We're gonna get into verse 2
I did
here.
Get a new hat recently.
Oh, you got it. Your trucker hat?
It's a Nintendo World Championship trucker hat. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's a pretty good hat.
Does it look good? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show it to you later.
Nice. I'm going out west, out on the coast, where the California girls are really the most. This is back. It's returned.
Yes. The California girls are really the most. And then, like, we do actually get back into mostly talking about women.
Mostly talking about women. Yeah, it's all women from here on, because the next one is about Frisky Frisco.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
The other interesting thing, like, this is verse 1 of the old one.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. So he just kind of pushes everything back.
Time,
yeah.
And then it doesn't do the LA verse.
Yeah, no talk of LA. You don't need it. Not a strong verse.
Because I'd be curious, because, like, you hear about LA as, I don't know, I feel like the image of LA has changed over the years, and I'm not sure what the years are. Obviously, Joe Jones mentioned it, but, like, I know San Francisco was kind of the focus more so in the 60s, I think, at least for, like, hippies and stuff, right? Like, it's a big hippie thing.
Yeah, hippies.
San Francisco specifically. Yeah. As far as I know. So I don't know how strong that existed in 63 when this came out, so I'm really curious about that.
I think your hippie movement's strong for San Francisco, because I do also think that a lot of music comes out of San Francisco in this era, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think maybe that's why that line sticks. And as for the LA line, it's just like, well, I do think as much as there's not a lot of strength in these verses in general, I do think the LA verse is the weakest.
Yeah, it doesn't say much, does it?
Doesn't say much. We're reusing old This Place. And it's like, yeah, the sun's good for him. Great. Whatever. But yeah, that's what's new here. It's a little better. I think the Ramones kind of really, really nail it by just changing one of the theys to we.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it sound like, Alex? It sounds like surf rock, baby.
It does sound like surf rock. A little more surf rock, certainly, than the last one. I mean, we moved to guitar, right?
Yes, that's the big change.
And there's an organ as well.
Yeah, and the big, like, tom rush on these drums at the beginning.
That's true. Yeah, I guess, of course, surf rock is established at this point. It's kind of on the way out, even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you get that start on the drums, and then they come in with that riff. Kind of treat it more like a riff.
Yeah. And then, of course, to make it really surf rock, what's the response instrument? An organ.
Yeah, of course.
And that is a Vox Continental organ.
Vox Continental. Yeah, Vox, there's an interesting company that still, I think, technically exists, but probably mostly as a brand.
Yeah, I believe that.
Had some interesting old organs. Yeah, but that's really it. It's also a bit faster, I think. Like, not a ton, but they also add some stuff, right? Like, they don't go right into the verse. They start with a riff.
Yeah, and they do that walk down into the, like, rhythm section.
That's where you really get that kind of vamp being the focus. Which we'll definitely hear later.
Yeah.
For sure. But the vamp just, going between the two chords.
Yeah.
Yeah, really highlighted on the organ, for sure.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing they do. which I think is kind of cool. They do something. At first I thought they were slowing down on the chorus. The feel seems to change to me. The verses feel like tighter to the kind of pulse, and then the chorus to me relaxes a bit.
I can hear that. I think a big factor is the drums, actually. Because in the verse, they're doing like a big roll.
Okay.
And then, boom, you break to a more classic rhythm for the chorus.
And then, yeah. So it does, I guess it maybe just opens up. So maybe that's it. Like the drums go from like kind of almost double time.
Yeah, and because like similar to the original, it's really just rhythm and then a voice with guitar response. So like musically, there's not a ton happening.
Yeah.
So just opening up into more instruments playing at once gives a little more space, makes it a little cushier.
Yeah. So it does have that kind of feel change, which I think is pretty cool effect.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about like, I don't know, the songs feels like you're like kind of working hard to fit in, but also like being leisurely. I don't know.
Yeah, we're celebrating this idea of the California sun on the chorus, whereas like the verses are meant to drive you there. Going west, baby.
Talking about what's going to happen, and then
talking about these frisky ladies. You're getting all amped up. You're edging to California, and then you hit the chorus and you relax.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a whole chapter in On the Road.
I think you're right, yeah.
What else do we have on here? Solo.
That's right.
There's a solo. It's a guitar solo. Yes.
As one might expect.
Well, no, it's not. It's a guitar and organ solo. You're getting guitar and organ playing the main riff.
Yeah.
And then they sort of break apart. The organ keeps playing the riff.
Right.
Well, the vamp. And then the guitar is basically just playing one note.
Yeah. Doing Morse code.
Like to the same rhythm. So like that's kind of the solo, but I think that was kind of the style at the time.
Yeah, that's definitely another style you're getting.
Style, like
one of the easier ones to pull off.
Or they do. I mean, it is. There's a whole video I watched about one note solos and like how bad they can be.
Right.
So like, there's still an art to it.
Of course.
But it's more rhythmic than like.
Yeah, it's a sense of rhythm rather than like technical prowess, like moving around a fretboard.
Yeah.
And these guys are a high school band at this point, is my understanding.
I guess so, because he went away to like war right afterwards.
Yeah, so we're talking about like 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Just playing fucking music. So it's not surprising to see something that is simple and perhaps more rhythm focused than some virtuosic surf rock solo.
I would not expect from the Rivieras.
Yeah.
No shade to the Rivieras.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem the style.
In that thing anyway. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, it is interesting that like how well this moves into surf rock, and then what they've done, they didn't do very much, but they've kind of moved it more towards just being about like coast beach culture sort of thing.
Yeah, they at least set it up. Like if they just changed maybe the third verse to be about it could just be about the beach itself, or like
something other that change it a bit to
change it a bit, because I think it's good to bring up the women. I think that brings character to the song. It's part of it. Yeah. But
I mean, obviously, it's a concept that people have resonated with.
Yeah, even if he just said something about becoming a movie star or something, that might change the the idea of why he's heading out there. Because it's like, why do you belong on the West Coast? That's what he brings up in the first verse. It's like, okay, well, because hot women are there, sure. And he's like, and I'm gonna buy a hot dog cart. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm slinging Franks, baby. Let's go.
Franks. Yeah, but it's a cool, like, as much as this is kind of the hit or the first hit version, it's still like it still has a ways to go.
Yeah, I do think that it gets better as time goes on here. And then we kind of hit a peak and then things go downhill. But I do think we can get better than this. It's not bad. I like at around, 159? Maybe go like 156.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a big stretch on and. And they walk.
So echoey.
Yeah, it's a very, like, the quality of his voice almost makes this version sound older than the Joe Jones version.
Joe Jonas did? Anyway.
Joe Jones.
Yeah, because Joe Jonas' version is more polished.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, that's the high school element coming out here, the frat rock, low budge.
Yeah, I guess so. Interesting.
It is interesting, because then we're going to take a turn, but before we get to what that turn is, we're going to take a short break.
That's
pretty good. We're going to take a switch from like high school rock to basically bubblegum pop rock with Tommy James and the Shondells in 1967.
Going out west, out on the coast, where the California girls are really the most. And they skate.
Yeah, I was excited to see this one because we haven't talked about them in a long time, and they're an interesting group.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, their hits, I think, were Alone Now, which is the song we talked about many years ago. It's actually Crimson and Clover is their big one.
Yeah, is there... No, they had 2 number 1 singles. One, Hanky Panky. Never heard of it. And the other one is Crimson and Clover. And they've done several songs like Crimson and Clover, I think We're Alone Now, Moni Moni, Crystal Blue Persuasion, that have been bigger hits by other groups.
Other groups, yeah.
So I mean, and that's a pretty decent resume of like.
That's a pretty good run of popular music, yeah.
And that just like wasn't as popular, but decently popular. Like they were still hits, right?
Yeah.
But like became bigger later. And we talked about I think We're Alone Now way back in I think our first year.
Yeah, I think that was a 2019 one.
Yeah. So Tommy James and the Shondells.
Tommy James and the Shondells. Yeah, and like it's not a bad vibe on this one.
It's definitely more in that like pop vein, right?
Oh, it reeks of pop. Like it's like down to his vocals, which are a little bit like high, kind of that like
going out west where I belong.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe that. Like
it is. We talked about a young singer a few weeks back, and it is just that quality of like, oh, he's made to be a teen heartthrob. Kind of vocal.
So he's kind of got a weird like idiosyncrasy that's someone associated with young people.
Yeah, basically, that's at least what I'm picking up from it.
Okay, I get that. It's interesting. Like, there's a couple other things. Like, they changed the lyrics quite a bit.
Yes, they do.
The chorus for one. They seem. I don't know all these things. I assume a lot of these are dances. But
I think karate is a martial art.
I know, but like, what is that even? Why they karate? I karate.
They karate. I karate.
They skate. I skate. They boogaloo. I boogaloo. They
boogaloo. They shingle.
I shingle. Yeah, like
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, insane choices.
Yeah, so I don't know what all that means. It's fun though, because he says boogaloo, which I guess I always knew was a dance. But we did watch Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, we watched Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Which was actually kind of a fun movie.
Kind of fun movie. I really do still like the scene where he's dancing in a house that is rotating.
The house is rotating and he's going all around. That's very cool.
I think about that
walks
all
up
the time.
On the ceiling.
Yeah,
cool shot. But yeah, boogaloo. I don't know what the boogaloo is. I assume it's a specific dance.
Yeah, it does seem like he's running through whatever popular dances there were, and I do wonder if there is like an association. Maybe this is perhaps speaking to the movie making aspect of karate. Like maybe Bruce Lee's out there filming a movie, and he's like,
so like why karate? Maybe it's just, and that's the thing is like it's hard to know because I'm not doing any real research. What specifically was popular?
Yeah, I didn't want to get into fucking Tommy James and the Shondells pretty okay cover and like dive deep to really pull out the meaning of like, the karate.
Why is karate what came up? Like what's going on there? Like can we get Tommy James on the phone? Is he still alive?
Yeah, is he still out there? Are any of the Shondells still kicking?
I mean, it's mostly Tommy James. I'm looking at the past members. I feel like Tommy James is the core of this. But he's still alive. He's 77.
Okay. So yeah, he's probably still got his whereabouts, his wherewithal. He can You can tell us about Bakerati.
Be like, hey, quick question. Do you know why he did this? He'd be like, a producer did it. Ah, shit.
Yeah, like, actually, that was the writing team. You're like, oh, fuck.
And I don't know how much of a writer he was either.
Yeah, so the other change up is the verse about hippies.
Yeah, there's a verse about hippies. Hippies are something out in LA. And also hippies in LA.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, which the California sun keeps them all that way. So like again, about the sun like making people young, or in this case something.
Yeah, making them
hippies. Turning them into counterculture followers.
The sun that's frying their brains.
Yeah. Is that probably not in a pop hit?
No, probably not.
Not at this time, anyway. But there's that one. Yeah, again, I've always associated hippies with San Francisco, but I guess it's all, it's the coast in California. So
yeah, and I guess that's maybe, again, this is a bubblegum pop version at heart. So maybe they're just like, well, if we name check hippies, we're gonna cross over into that hippie market. Like, it's just gonna give the song a little more reach.
Yeah, maybe it's very general kind of. The other thing they do change is they have the Frisco verse. They say we're gonna wet the old Frisco, so it's more. They kind of have the same structure there. They don't say the girls are frisky, and they say we're going to the place where we all must go.
Always go.
Which is like, again, we're moving away from the specifically talking about women.
Yeah.
And into, like, generally, we're having a good time on the coast kind of thing.
Which, again, like bubblegum pop, they're like, we can't have this song be horny.
Yeah,
we can't talk about frisky women.
Much.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I guess it seems tame to us, but may not have been in the 60s.
Maybe. I mean, 7
sometimes
years
you come
earlier.
Across that, and it's like it was banned from the radio, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and there's no story of that with the Joe Jones or Rivieras version, so it's like...
it doesn't say that, though. Yeah, exactly.
But then I think Tommy James has a few more handlers on hand, so it's...
He's from Ohio, so
he's from Ohio. Yeah.
A little more conservative. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got more conservative sensibilities.
What else happens there? Also, they have a guitar, not a saxophone, and then I really like the organ in this one.
Yeah,
it's definitely like we're more in the pop vein, but like they still have the organ. It's really playing. It's playing a lot of high and low and like doing slides. It sounds very cool. I like it.
Yeah, it slides in. That's like its entrance.
Yeah.
It's a little quieter in the mix than the Rivieras, but yeah, I think it is a little more expertly played.
Yeah, it's not like a surf organ.
Yeah.
But it is appropriate for the time, what you'd expect from like a pop / rock thing. Song. Yeah. That's what we call it.
That's what we call it. A tune.
A tune. There's also like a half a second of harmonica.
Yeah, where does that come up?
I forgot to write the timestamp down. I swear it's like, maybe it's the organ doing a little like boop, but like it sounds like a harmonica like almost starting, and then they're like, shit, let's not do the harmonica.
Yeah.
Or like they did a harmonica solo and cut it.
That could be. That's very strange.
But it might be just like a weird sound from the organ. I forget the timestamp though.
That's unfortunate. I'm going to move to talk about the drums then, which is a new rhythm on this.
Yeah, pretty fast.
Yeah. It's fast. I find the guitars and stuff feel a bit slower on this though.
Slower, eh?
Yeah, it's rather than like a.
I guess so. It feels more relaxed.
Yeah.
Especially like compared to the Rivieras, who kind of have the more like hectic parts, and then they relax in the chorus.
Yeah, their verses have a little more like.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, where is it?
It's 30. Go to 36.
Okay.
35, 36.
Okay, hang on. Let me go a little for that. Is that there's like a guy who shouts then?
I just hear like a.
That might be. What does he fucking shout? Yeah, I kind of hear that.
Whoa. Like after he goes, whoa.
Yeah, it's like, I almost thought it was like a thud on the bass.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it sounded like they almost started to play harmonica.
I could hear it almost.
This harmonica song.
Well, because you get a guy shouting before it too, which is like a start a solo movie.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa! And then you go into a solo, but then
they're like, get that out of here.
No, not the harmonica.
And that is their other big move on this is shouting stuff. Hey, hey, hey.
It's true.
On some of the choruses.
It's fun. I guess maybe that's the poppy thing, get everyone into it. And I mean, they're still performing sometimes.
Yeah, and they do like to
Reno on August 10th.
Hey, maybe take a trip down to Reno. No, not at all. But they do that, and another poppy thing they kind of do is they like to double up on the chorus and go higher. And we're out here having fun, or at least on the final line. In the warm California sun.
Yeah, it's I think it's fun.
I think it's fun. It is a fun version.
Well, compared to the other ones, I mean, we're a little further into the future now, right? So we've got these advancements in multi-track recording, and it's just more modern sounding. But yeah, it works pretty good overall.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. 1967, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the same year, that the Velvet Underground and Nico was released.
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
So that's your contemporary for this very pop song.
Very pop song.
Yeah, so it's Tommy James and the Shondells style for sure.
And just some weird lyrical changes. Some just to make it seemingly less... I think
more
the moves
palatable. Are to be softer and broader. They're we're going to name contemporary dances and perhaps fads. Karate, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, karate. Why karate? That's just weird to me. But
so
whatever.
Weird to me. And we're going to remove horniness.
Yeah, to make it just let's go to a place that we go to sometimes.
Yeah, because they're trying to sell these records to kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Teenagers. So that's the move, I think. But yeah, I mean, California Sun, if you're going to water down a song, it's not that it's not like there was a hard-hitting message in the original.
True. Speaking of hitting hard, though.
Hitting hard, the Ramones in 1977.
Yeah.
When going out where I belong. When the days are short and the nights are long. And I walk, and then walk, I choose.
The Ramones. They're a pretty big deal. I know a few Ramones songs. I'm not a huge Ramones person.
I had a brief Ramones phase.
Yes.
And they got some good hits, and it's nice because they're all fucking nice and short,
That's true. And pretty simple, but that's kind of the point. I mean, they're considered some of the first punk rockers. Like you said, it's very surf inspired, but it ends up being very simple. And of course, a lot of punk is specifically trying to be simple.
Yes.
And the idea is sort of to reject the more complex and remember the roots of the idea of rock and roll, which is having a good time.
Yeah, and being a little bit in some ways unpalatable, right?
Yeah.
So this is a clear shift from Tommy James, where it's we're gonna have harsh noises on this. We're gonna play it fast and hard, that's the punk philosophy, and we're not singing in tune or whatever, man.
Right. It's not as important. Virtuosity is not as important as just power.
Raw
power.
Just raw power, exactly. To quote Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
And this one appears in Rock and Roll High School, Jackass the Movie, season 11 of The X-Files.
Which season?
Season 11.
Oh, damn.
In the episode This.
Okay. Anyway, I don't remember which seasons of The X-Files I've seen. I thought it was 9, but let's not worry about that. Let's talk about the Ramones.
Let's talk about the Ramones.
So,
there are 11 seasons of The X-Files, so I'm going to guess it's the worst season it shows up in.
Probably. They probably go to California.
Yeah, probably. They play this song. Or Great Britain. I don't know, it's one of the two.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that'll be it. So Yeah, this is, I mean, and this is very, this sounds like the Ramones, like so much. They have
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, they said 1, 2, 3, 4. They get into like the vamp right away. It's the distorted power chords, right? It's loud. A lot of strumming. And then they kind of get into that riff.
Yeah, and you got tom heavy drums, but not surf rock tom drums, punk rock tom drums.
Yeah, they're a little like flatter.
Yeah.
Less resonant, I guess. But the drums do kind of have fun. Like they play a pattern, but they seem to be playing the same pattern, but just like moving to probably not random, but different drums. You know, they play it over here, they play it over there, but it's like the same thing. Yeah, and that's fun. So because like most times you would like stick to the same couple drums, but like this one's like I'm gonna move around.
Right. Yeah, it feels a little dynamic, even though you can see the clear pattern.
Yeah, but like I mean, I don't know a lot of Ramones songs, I'll admit, but you know. This is very close in terms of its genetic makeup to like Blitzkrieg Bop.
Blitzkrieg Bop, a song we used to play as well.
We totally did.
Yeah.
It has like a breakdown in the third verse, lots of drums in there, which is again very similar to Blitzkrieg Bop.
Yeah, it's so, and I don't know how early this is for the Ramones, 77.
Pretty early, I think.
Pretty early, so it's not like outlandish for some of their stuff to be a little close.
True, and yeah, like that's fine, but like this definitely like shares a lot of DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the vocals work great on here. Get out where I belong.
Yeah. Sounds like the Ramones.
It's great. And it gives that kind of party element, especially because they finally changed that line to they're out there having fun in the warm California sun to, yeah, we're out there having fun in the warm California sun. Which like brings that emphasis on what the song's really about, having fun in the sun.
Having fun in the sun, and brings them into it.
Mm-hmm. They're there, and then it brings you there, too. The sort of punk rock of the people, for the people element. We're all there having fun.
Yeah, it's us.
It's us, baby.
We can all be Californians. Because no one's from California, right?
That's right. Everybody just goes there. It's kind of similar for Vancouver.
Like Vancouver. Even like Calgary, kind of. Like, I always hear about that. I'll talk to people, and they're like, you're from Calgary?
Oh my God, I didn't know that was such a big deal.
It's not a massive deal.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely something I've heard.
I just remember like being in like a class out here, and you know, I had to introduce yourself. I'm like, I'm from Calgary, and like 6 other people like me too. I was like, God damn it! I thought that was my like unique thing, and there was like one dude who was actually born and raised in Vancouver, and we're like, this dude's strange.
Like, what, in Vancouver still?
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess like. There's more of an influx of people in Vancouver, but it does happen in Calgary as well, at times, because it's kind of like a boom town.
That's right.
You know, so like there'll be a boom, a lot of people will come here, and maybe they'll stay, maybe not, but like people from Calgary like to leave because there's reasons not to stay in Calgary.
Oh yeah, it's called winter, predominantly.
The winter's a big one. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it happens in every big city to some extent. In Calgary, while not the biggest city, it's still a big city.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's here, same thing. California, it's the place to go to.
To become Californian.
Yes.
Go to Baja, California instead.
I believe it's pronounced
Mexican, I guess.
Baja.
Bajalifornia?
Bajalifornia. Yeah, so boom, we get the classic distortion on this. We got the vocals. It's all kind of classic elements. I think it brings out a good sound from this surf rock song.
Yeah, especially. And of course, I mean, what we would think of now as straightforward punk rock, but because it was effective and became popular, right?
Kind of in the same way that sometimes the cover move for a song is to do the slow, sad piano version. It's like these guys were doing the punk rock before people were doing punk rock, right? So it's fresh, it's new at this time. It's got that raw energy, that raw power. It's got that, the name of this album is, it's got that Leave Home 40th Anniversary Deluxe Edition energy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Leave Home 40th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. Wow. 80 tracks. What?
This one breezes by, too. 2 minutes, 7 seconds. The shortest version we're going to talk about today.
It is fast because they play fast.
That's right, baby.
And loud. But there's a lot more to talk about.
Sure, yes. Starting in the year 1982 with Eddie Meduza.
I'm going out west where I belong. Where the days so short and the nights so long.
Eddie Meduza. Yeah, a Swedish guy.
Yes.
He
is apparently big into rockabilly.
Yeah, rockabilly, but like I'm looking at his genres and it's like rockabilly, dance band, punk rock. And this isn't like super rockabilly.
Yeah, or dance band.
Or dance band. I don't even know if that's what you say. It's just kind of like, it's not even really like punk. It's kind of like blues rock.
Yeah.
Like heavier rock.
Like heavier rock. It's got a bit of
heavy
70s element to it.
Yeah.
I found it most interesting that this guy had an identity known as E. Hitler.
E. Hitler, yeah, which is apparently supposed to be vulgar.
Yes.
And like he would.
Yeah, some of the song titles were like shitting on the toilet or like sucking farts out of a hose or something. They're all like gross toilet humor kind of
toilet humor. And
names.
His persona name was Hitler. So there you go. He died fairly young as well. 53.
53, yeah. He's unfortunately passed.
But he got to hear the next version we're going to talk about. Theoretically, he could have.
So, he could have heard it.
There you go.
We'll see.
So what else is this guy? This one was interesting. There's interesting sounds on it. There's lots of guitar.
I think, tonally we hit on some nice 70s classic rock noises.
Yeah, which is, I guess not that weird for 82.
Not that weird for 82.
You can't have one decade and another decade. It's impossible.
That's right. So they did actually put him to death for this. That just took a while.
That's why he only survived until 02. Yeah, so but the sounds, it has that like kind of hard rock sound, somewhat generic hard rock sound, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if it was at the time, and the drums sound a bit synthetic.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Like it's kind of a drum machine sound, I think.
Yeah, doing its best to sound like real drums.
Yeah, and it does fine. The kind of issue I might have with this, the lyrics are a bit flat.
Oh yeah, and his vocals are he has the vocals of an old man already.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
low,
it's like,
bassy, flat.
It sounds like I said dad rock, but I don't mean like dad rock. I mean like like dads in a band, like older guys.
Yeah, like dads wanting to play dad rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad's playing dad rock. Exactly.
Dad's playing dad rock. Dad rock. Granddad rock.
Granddad rock. But yeah, it ends up being a fairly straightforward, like hard rock sound.
Yeah, and we just talked about a band last week, the Lasse Lindholm band, who also had like a flat vocal problem.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's just a language thing.
Yeah, if it is just like, they're tackling the English language and they don't know how to like emphasize certain things. And if it's just like outside of their cultural singing style or something, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I'd be curious if there's like some other cultural implication here, only because he seems to be like kind of a performance artist.
Right, because he does seem like
some boundaries, or maybe he's just a vulgar, I don't know, person.
Yeah,
but like this is so straightforward. It's like, is there something I'm missing? Is it supposed to be like satire or something? Like, I don't...
Yeah, is there a layer we're missing? And to point out, I don't think all Swedish people sing flat, because two of the biggest acts out of there are ABBA and Europe, who are are both pretty far on the other end of being quite expressive.
Yeah, absolutely. We just happen to have stumbled across a few.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's just like if this is sort of just a trend of like untrained vocalists in Sweden, or if it's just like rock and roll in there. They try to be a little harder by being flatter or something. It's just strange that we've run into two. Maybe we'll never run into one again, and it's all just a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, at least this guy seems to have like other stuff going. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, like, his, generic as it may be, his composition is lively. Like, we got guitars soloing in the back, they're doing a boom, rhythm.
Sounds like he did work with, like, a guitar player who, I don't know if on this, guitar player who later went on to be a member of Europe, so that's cool.
Yeah, I could see that, because, like, I think the guitar work on here is pretty solid. if not mind-blowing or like reinventing the song, it at least lays down some solid rhythms.
Yeah.
And has a pretty good tone to it. But yeah, his vocals are fucking dog shit. Yeah. Well, I'm going on west where I belong.
Yeah, I'm just looking through his Wikipedia page, and he developed alcoholism in the early 80s, so...
Yeah. And then with these very, like, already flat vocals, he moves into talk singing on the third verse for a bit. And I'm like... I'm surprised I could even pick up on it, because it's like... I thought he was already talk singing, you know? And now, does he say old California sun?
I didn't...
It doesn't sound like he says warm, but maybe he does.
Is there a timestamp for that?
All the time, everywhere.
All the time, everywhere, just like every time he says it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I should have put down at least one of the timestamps. 105.
Kind of sounds like this is home.
Yeah, I heard home on that one.
It was just like warm.
Warm California sun.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe an accent thing. It is a little unclear.
It is a little. Does he say "yeah, bro" at the end?
At the very end of the song.
Yeah, he does. 309. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Or says something in another language.
Yeah, that is maybe a word that sounds like "yeah, bro" here, but
that's true.
But here's a word that sounds like the Straitjackets. It's Lost Straitjackets, featuring Dave Alvin in 2001.
I'm going out west where I belong, where the nights are short and the days are long. Yeah, they walk, and I walk, and they twist, and I twist.
Dave Alvin. Yes, so, Lost Straitjackets. They're from Nashville.
Yeah.
And they're like a Mexican-themed band?
Yeah, I watched a live video of them performing the song Tequila and then this song.
Yeah, I saw it.
And they were wearing like luchador masks and talking a lot about tequila just in general.
So they've got a theme.
Yeah, they got a theme. They split up and reformed in 1994. So this is the reformed Lost Straitjackets. Teaming up with Dave Alvin, American singer-songwriter, guitarist, producer, and also a member of The Blasters.
Yeah, he seems to be more of like a country artist.
Yeah, especially because his Wikipedia photo has him in a cowboy hat.
A cowboy hat on, yeah. So this is, it's not like, it doesn't sound like very Mexican.
No.
In terms of the music, it's kind of country.
Yeah.
And actually, this is kind of the rockabilly version.
Yeah, definitely more so than Eddie Meduza.
Yeah, who did not do rockabilly.
Because you get kind of jangle pop guitars on this, which is a little more rockabilly based.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like twangy.
Yeah, twangy without going like full country.
Yeah, a little hootenanny.
I wrote it's kind of pop country rock, but without being like specifically pop country. If you follow me, like it's not that very specific, so which probably I mean to say rockabilly. It's rockabilly.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of like the guitar has a lot of echo on it. The drums have a lot of echo on it. It kind of gives it a feeling of like being in like an echoey space, like a large, like maybe like a dance hall kind of space.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Would a barn have bouncing sound? I feel like a wooden place like that wouldn't absorb a lot of sound. I was in a restaurant recently that had like nothing hanging on the wall, and it was so echoey in there.
Oh, that's weird.
It was weird. And it's weird that I've never noticed it before because I've been to that restaurant before.
Okay.
And it was just I walked in and it was suddenly like sound.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Maybe that's a choice.
Yeah, maybe.
A bad choice, but
bad choice.
Maybe it's a choice.
Because I mean, a lot of places have like professionally installed like sound dampening. Anyway,
right?
But this version of the song, yeah, I was happy to know that they didn't like put on a Mexican accent or anything.
Yeah,
just sound like an American country singer. The other thing they do is kind of like blues style licks on the guitar.
Yeah.
Kind of along with the call and response. So like even the intro has like a bit of a solo in it with that like bluesy style.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a few different like licks like you're saying. And we get hand claps as we enter the next part of that intro. To clap, 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 clap. So it is a big, like you said, kind of an open space feeling cover where you've got audience participation. People are clapping along.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, it kind of like it moves into that country space. It's still a bit surfy. Like we mentioned, it was very like bright and jangly guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I think the theming works pretty well for this one, you know, even though it's not like as surf, but it's still like surf adjacent.
And they I feel like they really bring out the party elements of the song. Particularly when we hit that chorus, is they walk, and I talk, they sing.
Yeah, I kind of get. I mean, because Dave Alvin is, I assume singing lead on this. The whole band is like doing their backup. They're kind of like goofs, you know.
Yeah,
so they're just like having a good time.
They're just.
I don't know. Maybe Dave Alvin's a goof too, but they kind of have like a theme, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't super strongly themed, but it is like kind of the rockabilly sound, so it is a throwback.
Yeah, it seems to be like whatever the Venn diagram meeting point is of what Lost Straitjackets plays and what Dave Alvin plays.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where they touch.
Yeah, it works pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good synergy here. Great tone on the instruments, some fun elements to keep it lively, the hand claps, the backing vocals.
I would definitely, I'd keep it on a level with like the Ramones. Maybe it's just don't like the Ramones that much. Not that I don't like the Ramones.
Okay, I think the Ramones fucking knock it out, but
I think also reasonably well.
Yeah,
it's not as relevant as the Ramones version, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find a reason to ding it against the Ramones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think this is a solid one. So let's talk about. Hang on, I have his pronunciation here.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere in one of these two. Here we go.
Yeah.
King Usniewicz and his Usniewicztones in 2011.
Going out west where I belong, where the days are short and the nights are long. Well, they walk and I'll walk, they twist and I'll twist.
Yeah. Is this real? Is this a real band? Is this a comedy band?
Two backstories I have here. Yeah. I believe it is a comedy band. The first one doesn't believe that. It says from 1969 to 1979, Ernie King Usniewicz fronted a hilariously inept Detroit bowling alley / lounge band.
Yeah.
The crudest tenor saxophonist in the history of rock and roll, Definitely. King Usniewicz, and his band had only one single issued out on a local label during the 70s. Dubbed by one critic as, quote, the worst oldies band I ever heard in my life, they played with a bludgeoning energy oblivious to the fact that they were woefully shy in the talent department. However, when the group's first album showed up on several college radio playlists in 1989, they earned a minor cult following among both record collectors and young alternative music fans. So that's one story.
Mm-hmm.
The other story is that in the mid-1970s, Cub Coda and Brownsville Station roadies created and recorded an intentionally inept oldies band named King Usniewicz and his Usniewicztones, with Coda masquerading as the frontman Ernie Usniewicz on saxophone. The band recorded and presented a 45 of Surfing School / Cry on My Soldier, which was discreetly placed in Midwest thrift stores by members of Brownsville Station while on tour, creating the illusion amongst record collectors that the band had been real. The prank was furthered by 4 LPs released by Norton Records between 1989 and 2011, all of which feature a photo of the face of Coda's father, George Usniewicz, on the cover.
Okay.
So I'm more inclined to believe that second story.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they're both fabrications and it's just a later.
Yeah, because there's parts that come off as a bit of bullshit in both, right?
Yeah. And it's tough to know. I mean, the date on the album on streaming is 2011.
Yeah.
They both seem like a bit fake, and obviously the band is terrible.
Yes.
If you listen to it. So
that's why I don't believe the first one, because these guys didn't even know how fucking bad they were.
Yeah, absolutely. That feels made up, right?
Yeah.
It feels like just a comedy, right?
I maybe don't buy into the full, and they spread out across the Midwest, dropping these singles into little stores to create the illusion of a real band, because there's just so many, fake stories like that.
Yeah.
That, is this one real? And it's why are the Brownsville Station roadies involved in this? There's a few.
Where do they come from?
Things that are just I don't know about all that. But yeah, essentially, the facts are this. I believe there is a novelty garbage band who released under this label.
It's a little unclear when.
Yeah.
This happened?
But I mean, in that second story, it says the 4 LPs were released by Norton Records between 1989 and 2011, which does line up with what we have here, which is a 2011 recording of California Sun.
With King Usniewicz and the Usniewicztones.
Yeah, so this is kind of like your let's do a bad job of a pop song cover.
Like the really like inept thing. Obviously, the first description specifically calls out the saxophone, and the saxophone's rough. It's like on purpose, like missing notes, not just missing notes, but like squealing and like hitting the wrong note.
Yeah, it's like those videos you'll get where it's like a recorder playing the Titanic theme or the Jurassic Park theme.
Yeah, they just keep fucking up.
Yeah.
It comes in and it's like in the wrong key, I think also.
I believe that, yeah.
Like hitting the wrong notes and like kind of behind. It just sounds like someone who doesn't know how to play the saxophone playing like the wrong saxophone.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't have the technique right. They're not in the right key. And so you're getting these like farts that are in the wrong direction. It's that. That's kind of funny.
In the wrong direction. I get it. It's funny. Because it's not expected, especially because like the rest of the track, it's like the vocals and the saxophone are messy. Right?
Yeah, are
the rest of the track is like fine.
Yeah, and then I guess the fact that there is an accordion on this is like, hey, that's goofy.
Right. Sometimes the accordion is like, isn't this a weird instrument?
Mm-hmm.
Weird Al comes to mind.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, the vocals are real like drunk, like shithead kind of vocals.
Yeah, not trying to hit anything.
Yeah.
Just singing. And then there's even like some like, I don't know if it's burping, but it's definitely like indigestion of some kind.
Yeah.
Like that sort of sound. Like it's kind of gross. Yeah, it just feels like comedy and on purpose bad song.
Bad job, no good. Yeah, a little silly.
Yeah, like fun, I guess. I'm not going to listen to it again, probably.
Yeah, probably not. I think the mysterious story behind this band is perhaps more interesting than their actual output.
Yeah, definitely.
But a guy who was in a band with a lot of output and is kind of an expert in this field specifically, Mike Love, 2019.
Well, I'm going out west where I belong, where the days are warm and the nights are long, where they walk and all walk, they twist and all.
Mike Love, he's a bit of a controversial figure among some. He tells the story differently, but there's a lot of thought that he, as a member of the Beach Boys, sort of made them bad.
Okay, he's the
which is, I'm sure, not true, but like there's stories of him sort of disagreeing with Brian Wilson and trying to be more controlling and be like, no, we got to do like the just surf rock and like just songs about girls on the beach. We can't do Good Vibrations or whatever.
Right.
But so he also says like, no, I contributed to that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm in the band.
Yeah, I see here he's got contributing lyrics for Fun, 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 I Get Around, Help Me Rhonda, California Girls, and Good Vibrations. So yeah, that is one of his tracks.
So like, there's a lot been said. I don't know what's true. He gets kind of some, I think, Beach Boys fans don't like him a lot. He mostly because of Kokomo. I think he's a big part of Kokomo, but it's not like he was the only band member left at that point or anything.
Right.
But yeah, this is Mike Love in 2019 too.
In 2019.
So he's pretty, he's more advanced in age. At this point.
He sounds it too. He sounds like an old guy.
He does.
On this.
Well, this is interesting because I don't know who is on the track, but like he sounds older. You know, his voice is deeper and a little rougher.
Mm-hmm.
But like when the backup vocals come in, it sounds like Beach Boys.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a different band member that is on this recording.
That'd be crazy if
or
it
something.
is.
Like there's just another Beach Boy who decided to join in. But or maybe he still got it and he just doesn't sing in that range anymore or something. I don't know.
That could be. I see he has Hanson with him on one of the tracks on this album.
Okay.
But not necessarily on this one. Background vocals are Christian Love, John Cowsill, and Matthew Jordan for this track.
I wonder if Christian Love
This is probably his
which
kid.
is, like maybe his son or something.
Yeah.
Or grandson even.
Grandson could be.
Which I have not looked up. It like just has the sound.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
what is interesting about this one,
Yeah.
like you said, we've got these very Beach Boy-esque backing vocals and a pretty solid instrumental track.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, I can't remember what song, but we talked about it at least once. When we did, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. His name is Jimmy Buffett. Like when Jimmy Buffett would cover songs.
Right.
And it's just kind of like fun, and he has like a good band. It's like
That's right. Yeah, it's a little like
and you're like,
island.
yeah, all right.
And yeah, it's you're like, okay, this is actually pretty solid. Yeah, kind of the same vibe here.
Yeah. Yeah, it really reminds me of that. It's faster, it's kind of poppy, it's more recent than I was expecting.
Yeah.
He sounds older, but like he sounds fine. Like he does this song decently well.
Yeah, and I think given those backup vocals so much room to work in, it carries him a little. It's like he's got a little room to be not as good. Because those backup vocals do this great, ooh, walk, walk, ooh, shimmy, shimmy.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. There's a little organ for a bit. There's even hand drums. You can really hear them. There's like a breakdown verse they do. So you really hear the hand drums and the organ there.
That's right. Hand drums, clapping. We got a guitar with a horn response. So kind of a call to the original Joe Jones here.
Yeah, so it's like it's a bigger arrangement. A lot of them have been like rock band setups.
Yeah.
This one definitely has like a larger group. It's Mike Love. I guess he's got, he can have a
yeah. He's got the funds to make it happen.
Funds, presumably. It's not like old Beach Boys material, but like it's decently fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did kind of come in looking for a reason to dislike this, but I couldn't find one. It's like, it's fine.
I think the biggest mark against it is the Mike Love vocals.
Just his lead vocal.
If he'd maybe just set up, because it seems like Christian Love and his two friends or whatever can sing.
Yeah.
Like if he just wanted to redo the Beach Boys 2, it seems like maybe he had the material to do that.
But honestly, he sounds old. I think it's fine. Like, I've complained about older singers not wanting to sound old, and like you can hear how much they process their vocals, and it just doesn't sound good. He's not doing that. And
no,
you're right. That's good. Like, it's okay to sound old, I think. He definitely sounds it. But he's not like trying to hide it or not as obviously, at least.
Right.
Because maybe there's some pitch correction, but also the Beach Boys are so known as like strong vocalists, right? Like their harmonies is what they're known for. So like maybe he's just a better singer, and like he can do a bit of pitch correction without it being super obvious.
Right.
But he also sounds just kind of like himself, I think.
Yeah.
More so than some of those like older guys where it's like, why did they do so much pitch correction? Like, why didn't they just sound like themselves,
That's true. Yeah, because you're right, especially guys who have the Beach Boys legacy of like high vocals, harmonies.
Yeah.
Because the only other guy I can think of who has this distinctive old man voice now, that sort of just quality in there, is Iggy Pop, who really plays in the lower range and I think does a fantastic job of being an old man singing.
Yeah, and just like sounds like adapted with his voice and just like let it happen.
And let it happen. And I think some of his newer albums, Iggy Pop stuff, is still really solid. So like you can be old man singer.
Yeah.
And Mike Love's trying to do that here.
Yeah. So I think that's fine. But it is definitely that. Yeah.
It's certainly noticeable.
It doesn't sound like the Beach Boys.
Solid production here, much more so than Smitty and the JumpStarters in 2020.
Going out west where I belong, where the days are short and the nights are long, where they walk and I walk and they twist.
Smitty and the JumpStarters. Jumpin', swingin' blues quartet.
Yeah.
Playing songs made to get your feet moving. That's a quote I took, I think, from their YouTube.
I do believe I saw that somewhere. They're a bunch of old guys from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah, they're from North Carolina, and that is relevant for this version because they they add a verse.
They do, yeah.
Going down east, back from the coast, I think.
Yeah.
Or back on the coast, where the Carolina girls are really the most.
The most.
Kind of just taking an existing verse.
Yeah.
Or a lot of existing ideas from the song, but making it about Carolina, which is like cool enough. They're
Cool
kind
enough.
of like it's they reference their home state,
Yeah, I think they should have just done the whole thing about their home state then,
right?
you know?
Carolina girls or Carolina sun.
It's such a song that if you were like a touring band, you could easily, for most states,
Just do a different version.
like do a different
Yeah.
version.
Do the old Sufjan Stevens and at
Yeah,
least 3 or 4.
exactly.
Beat them out. Yeah, we're still gonna do one song per state.
Do
And
one
it's gonna be
song.
the same song.
It's the same song. But it's very easy to change because it's 3 rhyming couplets
Yeah.
and a chorus.
We don't need to do a whole album. It is also kind of rockabilly. I don't think it's as good as Los Straitjackets.
No.
It's
You
fine.
get like a ripping guitar solo at the start. We got horns to provide a little extra rhythm. Bramp, 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 bramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems more like, whereas Los Straitjackets is almost weird because you're getting kind of these 2 unexpected elements together, but it comes off very normal. This one is just a little more by the book, I think.
Yeah, a little more straightforward. Again, they do fine.
Yeah.
They do fine, but they're kind of overshadowed by the more interesting Los Straitjackets, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think a better vocal performance from Dave Alvin than from this guy.
True. Yeah, they're more interesting. What else do they have? They do have like basically an entire guitar solo in their intro. So
Yeah.
they get a little bluesy in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of it. 'Cause
Yeah,
even that
it's-
solo's not like amazing.
It's not amazing. They've got a sax solo.
Oh yeah, they do. I forgot they had a sax solo.
Yeah, around 210.
210. Oh, I have 150. What's going on?
Oh, maybe
here?
they got 2. Or maybe I just jumped in at a point where it broke and then and then started up again.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just keeps going. Mhm.
Is I don't know if you've had this. Do you use the desktop app in Tidal?
I do, yes.
Yeah, it sometimes like the time gets desynced.
Yeah, I do get that occasionally.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly why, but like if you jump around too much, sometimes it'll be wrong, and then you have to like go like hit back to start. and
Yeah,
then
restart
everything,
the
like,
track so it can
matches
figure
up
itself
again.
out.
But like
Yeah.
I've done that where I'm like 10 seconds off with all my timestamps. I'm like, why is it all wrong? What was wrong?
Yeah, but this one I do think is at 150 and also at 210.
Okay, it's just like two different solos.
It might even be the same solo. I should probably just let it play out.
Just like they're definitely both. He's definitely soloing at both points.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's like
definitely the same solo, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's fun enough. They I think like seeing it live would be fun, and it's good for dancing. It makes sense in the rockabilly style. It's just I think there happens to be another version that's better.
Yeah, I think these guys are totally fine. You could see them live, you'd like it, but yeah, they're not going to leave a strong impression. But that means it's time to talk about what will in our final verdicts.
Yeah.
We got 3 categories today: the worst version, the best version, and the version that's best for laying out in the sun. Alex, what's the worst version of this?
What's the worst version of this? I think I would probably give it to I didn't really like Eddie Meduza. I get the feeling that there might be something going on there, either heavy
Right.
alcoholism or like a joke that I don't get. So I will almost give it to that one, but I think I don't think Smitty's that bad. I'm gonna give it to Eddie Meduza. You know what? He can take it.
Yeah.
And like King Usniewicz is bad on purpose, so I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
There's definitely a joke there.
Mhm.
And it's like interesting enough.
Yeah, I got a chuckle out of
Yeah.
it. So like,
what is going on there? I don't know. There's like 2 competing stories that both sound kind of implausible.
yeah.
And it could literally just be someone wrote both of those stories on the
just
internet
put
and
them
then
out on the
put
internet.
these on streaming. Like it could be that.
It could just be
um,
that.
So I think Eddie Meduza is probably the weakest one for me.
I agree, I think, because I think his vocals take him below Smitty and the JumpStarters, who aren't awful, who aren't great, right? Like, I think a lot of the covers this week, King Usniewicz, you know, notwithstanding, because it's intentionally bad,
Yeah.
but a lot of covers this week are pretty solid.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I think, Meduza falls just a bit behind. But who's the best version, Alex?
What's the best version? Yeah, I mean, which one did I like? I think my favorite there were a few I did like. Obviously, the Ramones. I do think the Rivieras do a pretty strong job. Tommy James and the Shondells, I was surprised by. It was a little better than I was expecting. Not that I just
me
like Tommy
too.
James
I thought I was going to
Shondells.
take it off, but then I was like, oh, it's actually like a solid cover.
And at least like the arrangements are different enough that you can like, talk about that. Which one did I like the most?
Yeah.
I think I'd probably give it to Los Straitjackets and Dave last
Alvin.
name forgotten.
Alvin!
I think that was probably my favorite one. I was a little worried reading about the band because they kind of have a strong like theme with their like luchador masks and stuff, but it doesn't come across too much in the song. It doesn't come across too much as a novelty, even though it's a kind of rockabilly country thing in 2001. But it plays around in that kind of area with some good sounds, and I liked it overall.
Yeah, I think that's a solid choice. I'm going to hand it to the Ramones. I think they give us the full like party anthem version of this song in a punk rock context. It's the first version I ever heard, or at least registered hearing, so it probably has some nostalgia points pushing it through there. But yeah, I think that's a great version of the song, and that's all I gotta say about that punk rock, baby.
Punk rock, baby.
Alex, sunbathing, catching some rays. You put on SPF 1,000. Keep those rays off, yeah.
Keep the rays off, but also stay in the rays.
Also stay in the rays to soak them up. What are you playing?
What am I playing? I don't know. I feel like I really like for that, like one that's maybe feels a little more laid back. And I think if I'm on my own, Tommy James and the Shondells.
Okay, yeah.
And I think if I'm like in more of a resort setting, I feel like the Mike Love version would really fit. But I'm probably going to say ultimately Tommy James and the Shondells.
Those are both good calls, Alex.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go even further back and hit Joe Jones.
Oh, yeah?
Van Morrison's telling me to put on some of that rhythm
and blues music.
Yeah.
Throw on the Joe Jones version.
There's something about hitting like that kind of oldie, like just that old, where you're like, this is lounging around music.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, obviously, there's more to a lot of the songs, but like when a lot of these genres that have their stated purposes, like we're trying to have a good time, and like there's probably social commentary in a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily direct. It's like implied by a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just chuck it on.
I'm just thinking of like early rock and roll and stuff when you're like, oh, it's just a song about this guy being a musician or whatever.
Yeah, it's just
or
a song.
Tutti Frutti.
Yeah, it's just about big booties.
Big booties. Or all the fruits.
All of the fruits, yeah. Which look like butts.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing.
Or whatever. Not that we don't have that anymore, but there's also a novelty to old
butts?
things.
Yeah.
What, butts?
No, yeah, there's something about old songs that have a little novelty, you're kind of maybe on a vacation from the world.
Yeah, and maybe part of it is like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maybe part of it is like they were forced to hide there or not talk about certain topics.
Right,
so
that
like,
restriction.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess it's not that I don't want to hate on modern music because I do like more introspective music, but a lot of modern music is like very pointedly introspective, and they're like, maybe I'm a piece of shit, or that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's like you can't write about having a good time at the beach unless you also acknowledge that like the global warming's happening.
Yeah, or like how you are.
Maybe you're running away from your problems.
Someone,
at the beach.
I don't know. Yeah, like what are my problems? Like,
you
also, I'm
sand
depressed.
At somebody. Yeah. I can see that.
Which, like, cool. I'm into it. That's stuff we should talk about.
Hell yeah, that's the music I like to listen to perhaps most. But yeah, sometimes you want just a dumb beach jam about how
dumb beach jam.
The sun and women both pretty good.
Yeah.
That's our final verdicts. You got different opinions, similar opinions. Want to talk to us about a version we didn't talk about, of which there are many? Hit us up on the app, formerly known as Twitter, #CoverMePod, @SnakeyMe, @SomeAlexWiseGuy. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future episodes. You can also email those to us at covermepod@gmail.com. Talk to us there. Be sure to rate and review us. We are on all the apps. Pick an app, we're on there. Apple Music. All the other ones, Podurama, Podbean, etc. All the ones, Amazon, Spotify, kind of. We're on those. You can see us there. You can get your friends to listen to us there too. What you can really do to get the word out this week is prepare for your friends a 5-course meal that is themed around Cover Me. If you really want to go the whole 9 yards, get some like printed napkins or something. That's up to you.
That's up to you. California rolls. You can have that one for free.
California rolls. That's a freebie. A tequila sunrise is the beverage. Boom. We kind of 1-2'd you to really tee this up.
Yeah.
Other things you can have.
And a drink is a valid thing to bring to a potluck. I learned yesterday.
Yes, that's if the drink is, I guess, sufficiently novel. It plays.
Yeah.
You could bring, if you want to be really crazy, bring like 3005 grains of rice or something.
Very specific number.
Very specific references.
How much rice that is.
That's probably like not that much rice, I'd bet.
Probably not that much rice. But maybe. I don't know.
But maybe. You could bring I'm hoping for another food one here. Purple Haze. You could bring some marijuana.
There you go.
That can be it. So, make it happen. Invite everyone you know and get the word out there. That does it for today's episode of Cover Me. And as we always say on Cover Me, I'm going to go back out on the coast where the Cover Me hosts are really the most.